So I know it's Sunday and it's really early, but of course, I still peep on Menace's Twitter and Norway shared me uh he shared me a video that happened over the last few days. So I'm just going to talk about it. I don't have my spaces up. I'm not going to have it up. So if you come in and like raise your hand or something, I think it'll make a noise actually. Never mind. So really quick, I just wanted to talk about the, how gaslighting is a repeat tactic used. I think we hit it yesterday a little bit in the stream. But I do think it's important that people, you know, that we all kind of focus on the best way to handle gaslighters like this. Because in the stream yesterday, I talked about how you basically have people like Molly, let's go with that real quick as an example, sit there and tell us we're wrong and attack us and put us down and, just be so cocky and nasty. Though a couple months later, when she admits that Latisha is under investigation, that she is in trouble with the police, instead of admitting that she was wrong or anything, she just kind of shifts the opinion, right? And that's the gaslighting. The gaslighting is where she shifts the opinion to where she holds the exact opposite opinion, or she's admitted to something that people had been trying to tell her for months, though she doesn't admit that those people were right, that she was wrong for attacking those people, that it's her fault, her role in it, right? And I always talk about how it's a big change on YouTube because people like that used to face pretty big backlash. And nowadays you notice that their supporters just don't care. And a lot of people scratch their heads and they're like, why? Well, that's the same kind of thing that I'm talking about. I didn't want to bring up who it was, but, I might as well throw them some content today, throw them the bone of some content. It's EKC. EKC did a video yesterday where she, or maybe it was the day before, who knows, but it's very recent. We're talking very recent. Hold on, I'm going to find it. Unirock lying to viewers to falsely accuse two women, Latisha and Molly. It's just kind of funny and it's kind of cringy because at some point people think it's like a big old joke or something, but it really isn't. It is damage control, and it is perpetuating the lie to people that the viewership that backs it, they're just lazy, if you get my drift, right? They're just trusting these people, and when you see them take the just lie directly while accusing somebody else of lying, they don't in their head care to know what they don't care. Oh God, BCP. They don't care in their head to back up what they say, that with any type of clip or with any type of proof, and they don't care to tell the truth. So of course, what we've seen, I showed you the clips of Molly yesterday, and those were basically Molly just sitting there calling Dre a little liar and everything, which is projection, right? Which is the fact that, she didn't realize that by admitting Latisha was under investigation, that it was going to prove everybody right that had been criticizing her, and it outed her as a liar. So of course she makes herself feel better by calling Dre a liar for an entire stream over and over and over again. And it's the same concept with the other YouTubers out there that were backing Molly and Latisha this whole time, blindly ignoring evidence, ignoring the facts, not speaking why they're backing them, right? And then when they get proven wrong, their first reaction is the same as Molly's. It's to go out and try and convince people that, you know, they weren't the ones lying this whole time, that it was the person that they're mad at or the person that exposed them. You know, I didn't like fool EKC into supporting Molly, right? But obviously she backed her vehemently. So did Charlotte. So did all these other people. And when Molly admitted to Latisha that, or I'm sorry, when she admitted that Latisha was being investigated, right? Not realizing, as I said, that it was going to prove all the criticism right. These other people also, Charlotte, EKC, Leslie, and all of them, have also been outed as people have to ask themselves, what happened? Right? Did these people lie? Are they going to correct the record? Well, they're not. It's just going to be the same thing as always. And it's kind of one of those things where you have to reflect on quote unquote people that are hate groups, haters, right? And you have to ask yourself, is it just that simple? That you're just dealing with the classic YouTube hater, the classic troll, as people say on the internet, and not the funny kind. And you're looking at the fact that they won't, they're willing to shift their opinion in a snap of a finger, or they're willing to ignore the evidence in a snap of a finger, or they're willing to keep lying in the snap of a finger. And while I don't want to put any focus on them in my YouTube streams, it is, worth coming over here to Twitter Spaces for a minute and just kind of contemplating on it, just kind of breaking it down, I guess. Because as more and more time goes by, these examples, these things don't just back us up on the fact that we were right about Latisha and her fundraiser, or we were right about Molly, or we were right about those YouTubers that were blindly supporting to try to get Molly's attention, or blindly supporting Molly because she was hating on Katie. It goes to show why that general rule applies to the internet and applies to these communities, in the aspect that the hater is still the hater. And the people out there that are willing to correct themselves, willing to tell you the truth, willing to not have a stake in the story, not have a dog in the fight, that are going in and the only dog they have in the fight is to report what's going on to you, at some point, you really see that it backs up the previous content. Now follow me here. So it even backs up when we were making the point that these communities that are criticizing, we'll use Katie as an example because she's tied into this. The communities criticizing Katie are fine as long as they're being honest. The communities hating on Katie are the problem, the real problem. It's not Katie that's the real problem. She is a problem, but the people that are haters encompass the danger of misinformation and lying on top of the other problems that they have. So what I'm trying to say is that if you look at the points we were making before we were looking at the Latisha fundraiser, which there was a lot of commentary on fraud raisers, of course, but the liars that allow fraud raisers to exist or back them or feed their subscribers to them. And then talking about how the hate campaigns or these kind of groups out there are what supplied the people or what led people into that. It's validation for that previous content also, is what I'm trying to say. Okay? So now we're not just validated on the fact that Latisha's ran a fraud raiser. And we're not just validated on the fact that we were right about that Dre situation. We're not just validated on the fact that we were correct in the criticism we made before that. And that's what really pisses these people off, because it's a thing that I'm realizing. Look, the community learns by experience, depending on the type of community they are. And unfortunately, we're dealing with a community that was generated through Facebook and on social media sites where they pulled people into YouTube. So for a lot of the people that were supporting hate campaigns against Katie as opposed to criticism campaigns, for a lot of the people that didn't know the difference, for a lot of people that came from those Facebook groups and the Facebook postings, this is their first rodeo in maybe not using YouTube, but experiencing YouTube from a community perspective. And it's when you start to experience YouTube from a community perspective that you are opened up to the danger of someone lying or gaslighting or misleading you with fake stuff. And if you think back to when you first started to get on the internet, or if you think back to when you first started to use eBay, or you first started to use YouTube, whatever one, there was a point where you were caught by a bunch of misinformation, and you realized, okay, there's a reason that the old adage, nothing that you see on the internet is real, exists. And again, that doesn't mean that everything's fake. It means that when you don't have proof, when you can't prove something, you can't trust anything on the internet. You can't trust any type of trust-based, or you can't trust anyone that's not willing to back up what they say on the internet, because it's just too easy. It's not just easy to lie, it's also easy to lie in person. It's easy to delete an account and disappear because people don't have anything tied to those accounts. There's nothing that will inherently stick. If you have an anonymous face on your account and you delete it, nothing carries forward to the next account you make, right? And it's also why that old adage exists. If somebody is using a voice changer, if somebody's using a blank account, if they at least speak with their voice, they can also be identified the next time they go. If there's nothing that can help to say, oh, that's that same person that conned us the last time, you can't trust it from the get-go. But the problem is, these little things, while they are the backbone of the internet, for new people that come into these situations, they don't have that knowledge. They don't know. And it reminds me back to the QAnon days when we were debunking it, because there was it was one of the first exoduses from Facebook onto YouTube to support communities. So part of the QAnon thing was that they pulled people from Facebook and brought them over into YouTube communities and got these people to start using YouTube for the first time. And a lot of them started to throw their disability money or their retirement money at these political YouTubers, because again, they just assumed that there's not going to be that many people in the world that directly lie to us, because they could end up endangering the business they've built or the thing that they're doing on the platform. Or some of them even assume that YouTube will delete somebody who always lies. And once they realize YouTube doesn't delete people that lie, and once they realize that these people are lying to them, they learn that lesson and they start to guard themselves. And I do believe that's what we have going on with a lot of the Katie Hate Squad. because fortunately, when it comes to the Katie Hate Squad, we had the benefit of seeing it form in the Facebook groups and then be brought into YouTube, and we could watch this whole thing kind of upstart back when it happened. And it has led into this last subject, with Katie being involved in the story at first, teaming up with Molly, and then being technically the first person to ask for a refund from Latisha, due to the fact that she realized that Latisha had been lying and had been manipulating everybody. So, you know, a lot of the tactics that we use, or a lot of the habits that we've formed, are habits that will allow us to know from the beginning, to know at the formation of a story or the discovery of a story, that there is a propensity for it to be false, fake, or someone to be lying. You know, when Latisha first popped up and I'd heard that she was trying to accept money, when we first started listening to her talk, we could see when there was contradictions. And of course, if someone's telling the truth, while they may have a contradiction here or there, if they misspeak or say something they shouldn't, there shouldn't be an overwhelming amount of contradictions. You see what I'm saying? And back to the main point, though, regardless of what it is, it leads us to these communities now where thankfully we're seeing the people who tried to build their little hate empire now hitting that roadblock, where they're starting to realize that more and more and more of their audience is either going to be okay with the fact that they're backing a liar, like in EKC's case, or they're going to leave that community. It's still hilarious, though. I mean, it's still funny to see the desperation and to see the vendetta and to see the amount of care and the amount of rent that's being rent space that's being rented and that they have in their head for us, because every time they're proven wrong, they lash out, they lie more. But really, regardless, one of the main things that I wanted to say, if I was going to giggle about EKC's video, which again, for those of you that weren't here a second ago in the beginning, her video says, Unirock lying to viewers to falsely accuse 2 women, Latisha and Molly. All of this, by the way, moments before, she did this stream moments before Molly and Latisha. Molly had admitted to Latisha being under investigation. So it was almost like, you know, you get me? It was just like, you want to talk about bad timing. But the main thing I want to say is, EKC, you let an old creepy guy masturbate on your stream while watching porn, while you and another guest talked about child abuse. Why would you ever think anyone on the planet would ever take you seriously, let alone for all the things you've been wrong about in the past and never been able to admit to or correct? But, you know, you being a bold-faced pathological liar is one thing. We now know why you supported Nat. We get it. We know why you supported Nat. Because you don't care to call out the fraud squad lobster god when he's watching prawn and gyrating, and when he set his camera up so that no one would be able to see what he was doing. Of course, he made mistakes and outed himself, but yeah, I'm sorry, but you know, when's the title of your stream gonna be? EKC is so entitled that she doesn't care if old crusty lobsters touch themselves and watch prawn on her stream. You know, when are you going to actually categorize the stories that you report on by the things that your audience needs to hear about? When are you going to actually correct yourself when you're wrong, or expose you? Because I'm sorry, I can't think of many people online who have ever allowed someone to do that without calling them out, dunking on them, going off on them, exposing them. You know, you're hiding it. By you hiding it and being incapable of addressing it to your audience, it also shows that you're still protecting the old guy. And you know how long he had to lock down his Twitter due to the fact that he was exposed for watching porn and touching himself while you and your guest talked about child abuse? Do you know how long he locked it down? I mean, I want to say it was for over a month. That's how bad he knew that was for him, Exy. So once you realize that you'll allow crusty old lobster-tailed fraud gods to do that kind of stuff on your stream, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious why you keep lying on other people. Lying on other people is like 1/1 billionth of a problem compared to you. I mean, you could have just easily criticized him for it. You could have easily said that you don't support it, you're mad about it. You could have just made a statement about it and could have got yourself out of it. But you are so indebted to the cult that, yeah, you gotta make sure. You know what? You know what I want to do? When I did the title, I wasn't clear enough, so I'm going to restart with a new title. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I wanted to make a G Fuel here before I got started, so. Okay, now, in my last little Twitter space, I still want to call it a Periscope. I'm never going to get over that. I'm never going to get over it. I called it a Periscope for so many years. Like, you know, Periscope was kind of a dumb name, though, for it. Anyway, though. So let me just sum up the previous Twitter space for you. Let me find the title of this video. So the title from a day or two ago is Proof that Unirock lying to viewers to falsely accuse two women, Latisha and Molly. And then proof that Unirock operates third-hand information, engages in a pathetic version of the airplane game or something. I can't see the rest of it. Now, this is hilarious because she did this video not realizing that Molly had admitted that Latisha was under investigation. Okay? And that all pales in comparison. So for a moment, I'm going to pretend that we weren't right this entire time, because we were. As you all know, we were. But I'm going to pretend that we weren't right. Now, for those of you that might want the last stream, my stream before last or the last one, and watch Molly Golightly, the person who called us a liar from the beginning, admit that we were right when saying that Latisha is under investigation by the police for the fraud raiser. Everyone with two or more brain cells to rub together also knew that you can't dox people with the financial information that you get by running a fundraiser. They knew that you couldn't promise to do things with fundraiser money, charity money, and then just run off with it and turn off your cell phone, as they've all admitted Latisha's done. Anyway, you all know what I'm talking about there. But the main thing is, if we do pretend that, let's pretend for a minute that I was running with third-hand information, which I wasn't, and I had literally video clips of them siphoning the money out of the account, blocking refunds, doxing people. But let's pretend I was wrong. Does it really matter when the person who uploaded the video just had a dude on her stream watching porn, and she didn't care? She didn't yell at him. She didn't disavow him. She didn't call him out. And like I just said in the last scope, I'm going to just repeat it real quick. It was so bad for that lobster, he had to lock his Twitter down for months, I believe it was, or maybe it was a month, but he had to lock down for a long, long time. He only came out of lockdown because he wanted to get narcissistic validation for going from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant to restaurant on Veterans Day, using his veteran status to get free meals. Now, other veterans went and got free meals. They just didn't post it to social media for narcissistic and creeper validation. Though the point I'm making is, regardless of, even if we were wrong, which we weren't, how in the world, that's like, okay, that's like those creepy guys that stand around playgrounds, right? That are not supposed to be within like 1,000 yards of a playground. That would be like one of them trying to criticize a parent over the choices that they make raising their kids. Okay? You know, because you'd think there has to be something that your friends do, or that the people that you support or that your cult leader does, that you would disavow him for. Like, there are things that Menace and Navy and hell, even Rachel, my girlfriend, there are things that they could do that would cause me to disavow them and cause me to disconnect from them, or whatever you want to say, right? However you want to verbalize it. But I'm not ever going to give them amnesty on anything. So if we did have to go down the gambit of what is possible, like what are things that you have to draw a line for, or what are things that you can't draw a line for, you know, this example, which they just claimed that it was porn, that he wasn't touching himself. Of course, we've had people take the video and download it and process it and zoom in on it, and many people agree, other people don't. It doesn't matter. Everybody agrees that he was watching porn while having his camera set into a way that would prevent people from being able to see what he was doing by zooming just in on his neck and up. And again, he kind of moved around, which gave the ability for people to determine whether he was jiggling and gyrating. But the point in the end, how do you ever take anything that comes out of her mouth seriously ever again? She will lie for anything. She will protect anything. Now, this is the same person. Now, I don't want you to think that this is a one-off thing. This is the same YouTuber who said that people photoshopping children's, now this is like a public figure or a lawyer or a YouTuber's kid's face into porn was, what did she call it? Satire? So after getting enormous pushback for making that statement to protect her creepy friends, then she was busted for letting him watch porn while she and this other person talk about kids and kids being bullied and kids being abused. So, in most situations, I try to say, listen, just because someone does something hypocritical, yes, it would mean that most people aren't going to take their opinion, but it doesn't mean they can be wrong all the time, right? In this situation, though, her brain obviously just isn't functioning properly, because outside of her trolling about these things, it makes no sense. Is she just lying on purpose, or does she really feel how she feels? And that's the issue with the hypocrisy. That's the issue with her allowing someone to watch porn and jiggle their left side of their body while zooming their camera in on their face to try to hide the fact of what they're doing while they're talking. That's the danger of protecting this, is that, until you address that, we can't use your judgment on how bad of a person another YouTuber is, or how bad of a situation this might be. But I do think it explains why you're wrong all the time. I think it explains why you never correct yourself and you lie all the time. It explains that you are two-faced. And most people being two-faced, they do it to protect a fraud raiser. You're doing it so that someone can get their rocks off by watching prawn while in a video call with two other women, trying to mask that they're doing that, because it adds to that perviness. The fact that, oh, these girls are talking about this stuff and they don't know that I'm doing this. It's like a little exhibitionist pervy thing that they've got going on, right? And then you triply it down with the fact that they were talking about kids, and it just gets really bad. So there's literally, and I can say this with full confidence, nothing on this planet that EKC will call her friends out for. If they make her a single benefit, if she is indebted to them, there is nothing they can do. Nothing. Because most people would say that what he did is worse than even getting in a fight with an adult. Walking up to an adult and punching them in the face literally is going to be looked at as less of an issue than what he did. And that's no joke. And he obviously was so scared and so, had to run into hiding and lock his account down for such a long time over the issue. So he himself is even admitting that he can't face what he did. Right? But you're still going to die on this hill? Well, the whole point is, I know it's hard for her to grasp what I'm saying, even if I clearly state it, so let me say it even clearer. Why are you concerned with lying about what just happened with a fraud raiser when you have to ask yourself, do I go live and finally call this pervy creeper out? Or do I go live and lie about the fraud raiser, Latisha's fraud raiser? You feel me? And also, I hate to be the one to do this, but it is my job. Why would anyone do that? I mean, why would they choose to protect the creeper over their own reputation, their own existence? Because, in their internet land, reputation is everything. So the only thing I can figure out is that she probably had been helping him do this for a long time. She was one of the only people that would have him on the show anymore after all the other pervy things he did. After all the other gross things, she's only one of the only people that would have him on. Are we going to say that the reason that she hasn't called him out and disavowed him and exposed him for what he did isn't because she already knew about it and she's been okay with it for a long time. We factually know she won't call him out for it. We know she's okay with it, right? People that do that kind of thing, it's not something that they just do out of the blue. It's something they do, you know, all the time. I don't know. All I know is this. She thinks that, you know, when you get caught up in these kind of easy lies that she tells, she didn't even realize that Molly had admitted Latisha was under investigation. And she had admitted that we were right the entire time. In order for Latisha to be under investigation, it validates every point we were making about the fundraiser. It validates all of the content that we did. It validates the refund gals. The dono gals getting their refunds. It validates all the criticism that we gave. So even Molly, a person whose name is in the title, validated our content, admitted we were right. The police have enough information to summon her and to investigate where the money went and the harassment and doxing that happened against the people that asked for refunds, which is exactly what we'd been saying the whole time. Don't do this. Latisha's going to get in trouble. This is wrong. You're not doing the right thing. This isn't how you're supposed to do this. And she went live, not realizing that we had been proven right by the person in her title, saying that we were lying and going off of third-hand information. Now, luckily, we have all of the best clips we went off of compiled on Unirock too. And those clips prove that we had them recorded doing the fraud raiser. So that's all I wanted to put out. I'm sorry. There's just some days when I get a little squirrely and I just feel like, you know, lolling at the insanity here. But just to sum up what I just said, one of those people that protect Molly, decided to say that we had been caught, and this is yesterday or the day before, proof that Unirock operates with third-hand information and engages in the most pathetic version of the airplane game, I think it is. And the title was Unirock lying to viewers to falsely accuse Latisha and Molly. So I didn't lie to viewers, according to Molly. I didn't falsely accuse Latisha and Molly. But you won't accurately call out a creepy old guy for watching prawn on your own stream, EKC. I think you are too evil. You're too out of your mind. You're too bad at this. Yeah, it's just funny. Why don't you, if you want me to consider your argument here, why don't you call out him, the guy that was watching porn on your stream, EKC? Are you going to keep protecting him? You going to keep protecting him? You want me to play the clip for you? You want me to play the clip of him watching porn while you guys talk about child abuse? Because he was. That's a fact. And it's a fact that you're protecting him. And it's a fact that you allowed it. And it's a fact that you still associate with him. You know, the facts are the facts.